when we go from calm, open-hearted, what I believe to be like our natural state of being, like kind of just in the flow, to tense, guarded, reactive, activated. When that process happens, like that's a moment for us to look at what's being stirred up. And certainly there are lots of times where it's just like our partner is annoying. They left the dish in the sink again, or they, didn't call and they said they were going to call. But there are times when the size of our reaction feels bigger than the present moment. I think that's one of our clues that this moment is being supercharged by something that has to do with our past. It's like our partner has accidentally kind of tripped this wire that is not just the pain of them leaving the dish in the sink, but it activates a really old wound around feeling like my voice doesn't matter, or I'm not taken into consideration, or I'm not safe here, something that is older and bigger.
How do you go about, or how do you suggest we go about unearthing those ghosts, or unearthing those old patterns that we learned when we were young? If we notice, say, there's this too large or seemingly disproportionate reaction to an episode, how do we then kind of dig beneath that and say, oh, well, that may be X, Y, or Z from my childhood?
I think a lot of it comes from understanding who you were in your family system growing up. Like looking at your family system as, I call it like your original love classroom, because that was the first place that you learned about love. And I want people to think about two different facets: observation and expectation. So observation is, what did you observe? How did the big people talk to each other? Who were women supposed to be in the family? Who were men supposed to be? How was disappointment handled? How was repair handled? Like, what did you observe, right? You had a front row seat. Even if your parents weren't married, even if you grew up in a home with a single parent, you watched that single parent navigate relationships with their parents, with their siblings, with their friends. What did they teach? What did you learn by observing? Because when we're little, we're sponges and we're taking in all these messages about what you're allowed to ask for, how you ask for things, how you handle anger, et cetera, et cetera. So reflecting on those observations you made. And then the second one was the expectations. Who did you have to be in your family? A family is a system. And one of the qualities of a system, whether it's like a pond, like an ecosystem, or a business team, or a family, one of the properties of a system is a system seeks homeostasis. A system seeks stability and balance. And so oftentimes, family systems do that by casting kids into roles. And kids, and when we're little, we become who our parents need us to be. There's a wonderful teacher in my field, Gabor Mate, who wrote a book called The Myth of Normal, and he's written other books. And he says, when we're little, we trade authenticity for belonging. And so we had to become who our families needed us to be.